Welcome to Conversations with Zaki Baruti, and like I always want to give a shout out to my biological family. What's going on? To the Universal African Peoples Organization family, what's happening, and to the New Life Evangelistic Center family, headed by Reverend Wright. Keep up the great work that you're doing, and a shout out to our cameraman Bob. On that note, we're going to have another great show. In studio with me is one of my outstanding colleagues, and a person who's very involved in the movement. She was a former candidate for United States Senator in 2018. Did an excellent job within 4 months of generating over 49,000 votes. And she's one of our leading members of the Universal African Peoples Organization, which I encourage you to go to our website, www.uapo.org, because we need people just like Miss Coffee Wright. Miss Coffee Wright, thank you for being on the show again.
Thank you for having me.
You know, today's show is focusing on murder in our community. And unfortunately, so many families throughout the metropolitan St. Louis area, as well as throughout the United States, have the tragedy impacting them of murder of a loved one. And most recently, in your family has been impacted. Share with our audience the person who was impacted in your family and the circumstance, and then we'll get into the general concept of how do we put an end to this epidemic that's impacting our community so negatively.
Well, most recent, as most of you are aware, that my niece, Tia Perez, was murdered, more like assassinated. I don't know how many rounds were fired at her. I'm hearing between 20, 25 rounds, but 3 actually hit her, 2 in the head and 1 in the neck. And she's a 22-year-old young lady, a mother of 2, a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, hardworking young lady, assistant manager at the Sonics restaurant, have gotten several other family members, young members, jobs there, and just was a happy-go-lucky person. Beautiful smile, very respectful towards adults. And it's a tragic loss, not only for the family and her children, but I think it's a loss for the world, because when we lose one person who's doing something productive, that escalates, and we don't know what all that person could have brought to contribute to make things better. Absolutely.
In terms of the circumstance of her death, and first of all, of course, on behalf of the organization, we extend our condolences.
Thank you.
What was the circumstance? Some people may say, was she gang involved? Was she out there, you know, in terms of in the streets, or what was the circumstance?
Now, she was just a regular, I want to say teenager, but she was older than a teenager. She was 22. But just your typical happy, fun 22-year-old. She, of course, you know, we all have friends and relatives that may not be, that lifestyle is different from ours, but Tia was definitely not in a gang. She knew people. She knew people from priests to people in the street, because our families extend and our friends extend. However, this seems like appeared to be a case, wrong place, wrong time.
Where was she at?
She was outside the casino giving a tour to...
Which casino?
The Lemire.
And you saying she was giving a tour?
Giving a tour, driving, touring her relatives that had came, younger cousins that had come from out of town, and she was giving them a tour to St. Louis. So what a welcome to St. Louis. You know, welcome to the great things about St. Louis, or welcome to our horrible crime and homicide issues.
So within that context, was anybody else injured?
Yeah, absolutely. In her car, in her vehicle was her boyfriend, her cousin, and his girlfriend. And so her cousin was shot in the stomach as well, and he was shot up, and so he's still fighting for his life. He's doing a little better, but he was listed in critical condition initially.
Now, have the shooter or shooters been caught?
No, just pretty much like the majority of the crimes that's taking place in St. Louis. When you're dealing with, it seems as though when you're dealing especially with blacks, the crimes are a lot of times go unsolved. We expecting this crime to be solved, but I'm sure everybody expects their crimes to be solved. So at this point, no arrests have been made. We have a few leads, but no arrest has been made at this point.
Tragically, since the death of Tia, there's been several other murders that have occurred. You want to address those murders real quickly?
Absolutely. I think it's been about 7 other murders since Tia. And Tia's death took place May 26, 27, early that morning. And we've lost a 3-year-old child shot in the stomach, a 5-year-old, an 11-year-old, and just yesterday, a 16-year-old young lady who was a straight A student at Sumner High School. And so prior to that, this year, I'm not sure exactly how many murders so far this year, but one murder is one too many.
Absolutely. We know they are double digit in terms of the murders, and many of them are unsolved. So to that end, one of the things that I wanted to discuss as an extension of the murder of your family member, some of the causes from your perception, as well as from mine, as well as some of the solutions to the problem. And I just want the public to be clear, as an organization, Universal African Peoples Organization, we have had a history of speaking to that and trying to educate our people, especially through our newspapers. And to that end, I just pulled out for this particular show a past issue of our newspaper, which was a fall edition, and it's called the African Newsworld, where on the front cover we have a theme: are young black men doing the work of the Ku Klux Klan, or where are we really at war, tarnishing black communities across America, written by a gentleman named Philip Jackson out from Chicago. As well as on the back side of that, we have a kind of like a cartoon poster. And on the cartoon poster, we got Stop the Violence, and we got a caricature of 2 people, one in red and one in blue, the Bloods and the Crips, shooting at themselves with an image of the KKK with a statement saying we don't have to hang them anymore because today they are killing themselves for us. And then the brother say black on black crime equals genocide. We must learn to love and respect ourselves as brothers and sisters. So that was done by a young man named Geronimo. So with that said, what do you see as some of the causes of this madness that's in and before you address that, in another issue of our newspaper, which was several years back also in 2012, we had an article which said black on black victims could fill some of our stadiums. So that speaks to the seriousness of what's taking place. And I want to get your opinion as to some of the causes, and then we'll look at some of the solutions, but we'll have to go to a quick break first.
I want to thank God for each and every one of you that are supporting NLEC TV, the work of the New Life Evangelistic Center, and making it all possible so we can have conversations with Zaki on the air along with the other programming that's on NLEC TV. Not only we discover that at 24.2, but I actually watch it on my cell phone at a very special app that we have of NLEC TV, and you can just pull it up. It's so easy that everybody can watch it anywhere. So wherever I travel, I can be watching this program and other programs. Now, all this is possible only because of caring people like you that are sharing those much-needed tax-deductible gifts at this time with the New Life Evangelistic Center. We have a lot of things that are unfolding at this moment. We're continuing to help multitudes of people, not only throughout Mid-America, but as far away as India and Africa and other locations around the world. And we really do need your help. After they closed down 1411 Locust, we're continuing to help the homeless directly out on the streets every week. We're out in the mayor's window distributing bus tickets and other direct supplies. We have regular events out in front of 1411 Locust, and we're working actually through the legal, the mediation, the advocacy, and getting prayer warriors to pray that we can reopen 1411 Locust in the near future. But we need your involvement at this particular moment. And your gifts to the New Life Evangelistic Center make such a big difference. You can send that to P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, that's 63166, or you can give online through the PayPal system at newlifeevangelisticcenter.org or NLEC STL. I ask you to continue to stand with us right now as we continue to bring many programs like Conversation with Zaki to you, but we need your help.
How important are St. Louis Metro passes to the needy?
These bus tickets help me get to my pregnancy class, my daughter to see her, look for work. I'm really thankful for them. Thank you.
To provide stability and permanent change to the homeless, they need jobs. But how do they get transportation to look for work when they have no money? And when they find a job, how will they get there? Become a part of NLEC's Metro Pass program and help bring enduring change to a life.
Bus tickets may not sound like a big thing to some people, but when you have no transportation and you're working with a very limited budget, these bus tickets are a tremendous blessing. I have doctor's appointments that I have to attend, going to seek jobs and putting in applications. I really would like you to understand the importance and the need for this ministry, and anything that you can do to keep this ministry going. Please know that it is an extension of God's love.
And you're also getting some bus tickets, is
yes.
that right?
It helps out walking because everywhere you go, it's like a few hours each way, and people don't understand. It's freezing out there. We might have coats and everything, but it doesn't help out as much as everyone thinks they do.
So getting the bus tickets are a big help for you.
Yes, very much help.
And I say thank you to all of you that are praying, caring, and sharing at this time so we can help so many.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is Ms. Wright, former candidate for U.S. Senator, leading member of the Universal African Peoples Organization. And we're discussing the recent death of her niece, but also the broader issue of homicide in our community. And on the other side, I was just going to get into the question from your perspective. What are some of the reasons that's taking place, this murder and mayhem in our community?
Well, I mean,
and I'm going to give my thoughts too.
Well, the reasons, it's definitely ignorance, for one, because with us not knowing who we are, if we knew who we are, especially as black people, if we understood how valuable our lives really are and how special we are, I don't think we will be taking out each other the way we are. It's coming from a lack of jobs, lack of money, a lack of a lot of things, a lack of, I want to say upbringing, but everyone is killing people. You can't necessarily blame their parents and say they wasn't raised right. These are decisions that people are making on their own.
Although I believe that within the family structure, from my perspective, you have a lot of homes that do not have a father in the home because of the drug war that took many of the young men off the streets that could have totally impacted it, as well as a lack of spirituality, in my opinion. But go ahead.
I agree. I agree with that as well. But I believe somewhere near 75% of black homes and poor people in general are raised with one parent, and it's normally that mom. And so a lot of times one parents have done excellent jobs in raising the children, whether the father is locked up or died or just burnt out. Again, I think if we have more jobs in the community for these kids, more jobs, number one, more education on who they are, who we are as people, the great things that black men and women have done and have contributed to society, more black businesses where we can understand our potential, where we feel like we have something to look forward to, opposed to feeling like we're stuck and we can only and the easy way out is committing crimes. So we have a long road to go, but also we need to start kicking butts, because in your neighborhood who's doing the dirt. We all know who's doing the dirt. And we have to, when they say it take a village to raise a child, we have to step up. We cannot give people a pass just because you're black. Because you're black and you kill another black person, you don't get a pass.
Absolutely. And with that said, another issue in terms of not allowing people to have a pass is that we have to get past this whole concept of not snitching. Because You know, that could be the person who sees something that cares, their family member on down the road could be impacted. And by not saying anything, the person who does the killing can then possibly go and kill again. So, we got to not allow these killers to stay on the streets to do the kind of mayhem that take place. But at the same time, though, with all these murders, I want to caution our community, especially some of the murders of people who are found in fields and what have you. We can't say all this black on black crime now.
No.
We got to also understand that we, until you find the actual killers, it's open. It could be people coming from outside of our community doing some of this mayhem also. But we do know a lot of us are doing some of the killings also. So any other points on that?
Well, when we talk about black on black crime, and actually more whites are killing whites than blacks are killing blacks, but when you can compare the numbers, it's definitely disproportionate. So we can't, the numbers don't lie.
Absolutely, and in fact, when you just made mention, I'm kind of figuring through some of our newspaper articles, but as an organization in the past, we have done some studies as relates to the number of murders that be occurring in our communities. Mm-hmm. And on the other side of the break, I'll bring out some of those statistics. Now, to address the issue of murders in our community, what do you think are some solutions that you would advocate? And especially, in terms of when you ran for a United States Senator, they gave you a platform to address a whole host of issues. As a U.S. Senator or just as Coffee Wright, what do you see as some of the solutions?
Well, some of the solutions I would think, like I said, jobs. More jobs, definitely more jobs, because everybody have to eat. And also not only jobs, but education. We need to learn who we are, the great things that we've done, and the things that we are capable of doing. Even down to things that we take for granted, like a young man, a Caucasian young man, put up $400, bet $400 that the Blues were going to win. And his money has turned into $100,000. So I think if we even had that type of education to know that this is something that you can do, we have a lot of ignorance, and I'm just going to keep it real, and within our community, within our race, that we don't know all of our options, other ways to make money.
And on that note, we'll continue the discussion on the flip side of the break. We got to take another break.
I hope you're enjoying the Zaki Baruti Show, and I thank God for each one of you that are praying and working with us to get back into the 1411 Locust Building, one of the greatest acts of discrimination in modern history, as we see a 5-story facility shut down because neighbors didn't want to see those kind of people in the neighborhood, as they refer to them at. Those kind of people, as they refer to them at, are actually individuals that are made in the image of God, who Jesus said, as oft you've done to the least of these, he said, even so you've done it unto me. As you share a gift of $10 or more with the New Life Evangelistic Center, you're not only helping New Life Evangelistic Center to get back into 1411 Locust Street, but you're helping so many of the hurting and the homeless in so many different ways. And as you share your gift, please request your copy of Through the Fire. It tells you the whole story of steps that were taken by the rich and powerful to shut down 1411 Locust. Now we're working to get back in there, and it will happen as you pray, as you get directly involved. So as you share your gift, be sure you ask for a copy of Through the Fire, and know that by giving, caring, and sharing at this time, you're helping so many people that are in need.
If you can't receive NLEC TV on channel 24.2 on your TV, you can watch us on your home computer or laptop, anywhere in the world. Simply type in NLEC TV, then select NLEC TV support and click on the small NLEC TV on the right of the menu bar. Click on the play indicator to start the live programming, the same programming as 24.2. You can then enlarge the picture and enjoy your favorite programs like the NLEC Worship with Larry Rice, The Bernie Hayes Show, Experience the Benefits of Change with Pastor Burris, Conversations with Zaki Baruti, news and views, and so much more.
Can you hear the music of creation?
NLEC TV is also available on all mobile devices such as smartphones and iPads. By getting the NLEC TV app, you can enjoy NLEC TV anywhere you go.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti, with your host Zaki, and in studio with me is my lovely, intelligent, and outspoken colleague and member of the organization, Ms. Wright. As an organization, again, I just want to point out that, we have addressed the issue of the murders in our community, trying to educate our community. In fact, in one of the issues of our newspaper, on one of our articles, we say we must stop the senseless and rampant murders in our communities. And we did a 7-year study of homicides by race and sex. And that study took place from year 2000 through 2006. And in America itself, over 126,497 people were murdered in America. So
people are black. People itself.
People, that's overall. That's
overall,
that's all races involved.
And what was that number again?
126,497.
That's ridiculous.
And that was more than many of the servicemen that was lost in the Vietnam War, which was at approximately 59,000. And of that number, though, it was projected by the United States National Center for Health Statistics, there was 46,000 plus white males, 49,000 black males. Now, black males were less population than white males, disproportionate of black males being murdered. And the murders in females, 17,000 white females, and black females, 9,000 plus. So again, murder in America, and I'd be remiss, not only is violence in the black community, it's just throughout America. And
America was built on murder. Isn't that our history? Murder?
Yes. When you look at what happened to the Native Americans,
that's what they did.
Incarceration of, the enslavement of black people.
America's living up to what it.
But the issue is, going forward, how do we put an end to this? So. In one of our newspapers, we advocate certain measures to, address it. First of all, we say people need to belong to an organization that is about trying to make a difference. Absolutely. So do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Everybody, if people wait until when something affects their family directly, and then that's when they first thing they're going to call. With blacks, a lot of times we call, I'm going to call the NAACP, good luck. I'm going to call this person, I'm going to call that. The thing is that we have to be proactive, and we have to belong to an organization or create your own organization prior to something happening in your family, because everybody's family is important. Everyone's loved ones are important, so we can't wait on that. And another thing, I don't think a lot of people know. Everybody knows right from wrong, even as a child, but do they know the actual consequences? The real consequences to your actions or your behavior when you commit a crime. Have that, or is it a reality check once it happens?
That's a great point. Another point, though, that we also advocate is that the religious institutions in our community, as well as organizational institutions, everybody need to begin to teach the value of fatherhood, motherhood, and the importance of family life. Do you see that as a key?
Absolutely. We have to hold the these churches accountable. They just can't set up shop in our community, collect millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, put it in these white banks that are not investing money in our community, and go on with their day. They need to teach more than just religion, because when you're just teaching religion and people don't agree with your religious views or aspects, then you lose people. So I think they need to teach us how money works, life skills, educate us on who we are, And not only the black churches, but the white churches too, because if you have all the churches doing what they really should be doing, then I think it probably will be less racism because people will be able to appreciate each other's contribution better.
Okay, so that was a point in terms of also educating, and we have talked about that, our people in terms of knowing their true history. Another point that we'll have to, a couple other points I want to hit on, but we got to take another break.
I want to ask you at this moment to please pray for our community. We need a prayer at this particular moment. So much hurt, so much pain, so much injustice. I see it on a daily basis, but God answers prayer. Pray for justice. Pray that the Holy Spirit will sweep across our community, and so many people, as they're God-fearing people, their hearts will be melted, and they'll reach out to these that Jesus refers to as the least of these. We'll see churches open their doors, and the Women in Need program coming forth. A church will open its doors, and we'll be able to take the women and the children that are suffering on the streets of our community to a particular church each night and bring them back. Pray that the doors of the 1411 Locust building will open soon, and the financial needs of the New Life Evangelistic Center during this very critical period will be met. Let's bind together in prayer. God answers prayer. Keep the faith and keep on praying for our community. Let's believe Him for miracles at this hour.
Hear this, you who trample the needy and do away with the poor of the land. Let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. You trample on the poor and force him to give you grain. Therefore, though you have built stone mansions, you will not live in them. Though you have planted lush vineyards, you will not drink their wine. For I know how many are your offenses and how great your sins. You oppress the righteous and take bribes, and you deprive the poor of justice in the courts. Seek good, not evil, that you may live. Then the Lord God Almighty will be with you, just as you say He is. Hate evil, love good.
Welcome back to Conversations with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me, and we only have a couple more minutes, is Miss Coffee Wright, very outspoken member of the organization, Universal African People's Organization, former candidate for United States Senator. A couple other points I want to hit and want you to speak to it. We also are advocating that every positive individual in our community should adopt a young person to be their mentor. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's an awesome idea. You know, because in adopting people, you know, if you adopt a young person, say you're 25, you adopt a 9-year-old or whatever, then that person doesn't have to wait till they're 25 to learn. You know, so often we say, I wish I knew then what I know now. Well, then you're getting an edge on it. You're learning ahead of time. You're leading in the right direction, because too often with the video games and with the rap and you know, that takes us in the wrong direction. There's rap music, and I'm St. Louis's first female rapper. A movie coming out, background check.
You used to be a rapper?
I used to be a rapper, but it was about fun. It was about positive. It was about joning on each other, and how many girlfriends or guys you can get and all that. And of course, you know, we rapped about, you know, doing things you're not supposed to be doing, but we wasn't bragging on blowing somebody's head off.
Right.
You know,
right.
And we told stories. If you play Stick Up Kid, we let you know the consequences ahead of time. Now it's different.
So to that end, that needs to also be a campaign. And you took me back to a sister, I think her name was Dorothy Height, that was pushing against some of the gangster rap back in the day. I totally agree with you. We need to have a campaign to check these brothers that's putting out these crazy lyrics.
The videos, they desensitize our kids, you know. The video games are showing them how to kill people and keep on going. Don't think anything of it.
And those companies, those video companies, we need to begin to target them.
We need to.
Okay then. So on that note, we only got a minute left. Any last comment that you'd like to make to the audience?
I like to say that I like to challenge all you stick-up kids, all you murderers, you know, to please think twice. You know, you don't have to do this. There are many ways to make money. There's many ways. Our anger, we don't know how to redirect our anger a lot of times. You know, you got a different way. It's a different way to handle things, because everyone's life is important and life has no reset button.
And on that note, you've been hearing from Ms. Coffee Wright as we deal with the whole issue of crime in our community, especially murder. And I'm going to dedicate several other shows to this whole issue in the future. On that note, like always, may God be with you. Join an organization. Join the Universal African Peoples Organization, www.uapo.org. God bless each and every one.